Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Loreweek. I am your host, as ever and always, the Lore Runner. We've got a bit of news today, so I'm just going to kind of meander just a little bit here at the beginning, because I imagine there might be a couple questions, and I'd rather wait for people to be present before I actually start talking about it. I will give you the truncated version right now. We're accepting auditions for the theater. We're going to start recording for the next year's Star Trek stuff as soon as we finish Trials of Mana. And the floodgates are open. There's the truncation. That's the big 3 points. Oh, also, Star Trek. Good morning, everyone. Zach Taft, Shekor, Darth Tyrone, Ifan, Bud, Vulcan, Ciela, Act, Max Time, Jaluda, Zar, Mr. Red, Huanta, and SJ, what's up? What is up? This is funny, I have this turned down to like 20%. Is that a little bit better? Listen, all I care about is Star Trek, okay? It's the only thing in the entire world. I wonder how many people watch my Star Trek stuff and have no idea what else I've got going on. Audition for what roles? Well, good question. Get a hold of me on Discord or private message me for an invite if you're not on the Discord in order to get involved in the theater. Like I said, we are currently taking auditions for roles. So for anybody who wants to be involved in that, please try to get involved. You of course are not obligated to. But we actually opened up auditions last week. We've been open for auditions for a week now. And I have not had as many people respond to that as I was kind of expecting. So please, if you would like to be involved, let me know. What roles? Ask me in private. So, I give one finger scritches to Nougat. That's actually kind of it for the auditioning thing, but like I said, we are definitely taking auditions. If you have a decent enough mic and availability and you're actually going to do it, and, you know... Well, I mean, if you're going to ask openly, Darth Tyrone. Correct, Nerd Picks. So I suppose that's a good segue into the Star Trek thing. For those of you not aware, we have a... I guess it's kind of a vote going on right now for Star Trek TNG and Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which has to do with your most rewatched and your most skipped episodes of both shows. I have so far spent the better part of about 2 to 3 hours tabulating those, because I have to do it manually, so it's taken me a while. I still have something like 30 additional things up right now in order to do it. But I have a spreadsheet, I'm staring at it right now. I've been going through, tabulating all of them. You guys are crazy, by the way. Like, I figured this would be maybe 20-ish episodes per show. No. We're talking into the 50s and 60s range. There are 71 episodes of TNG that you guys say are your most rewatched episodes. You were allowed to pick 5. As you might imagine, a huge number of these have only one vote towards them. So that vote will close pretty soon. Probably inside of about a week. I'm going to actually be working on the videos that is the result of those votes while working on the Star Trek videos that I'll be working on during this particular recording session, which is a nice segue into my next point. After we finish streaming Trials of Mana, streams are going to chop off for an undeterminate period of time. No Loreweek, no Thursday stuff, no regular streams, no streaminations, nothing. Okay? Streams are just going to completely be terminated until I am done recording the YouTube side of things. This is actually new. Because the way we used to do it is I would do some of the more regular streams, which would be the Sunday stuff and the Thursday stuff, while still doing the recording thing. That was actually kind of stressful and kind of painful to keep up with. So, no, instead what I'll be doing is I will be cramming an average of 5 episodes a day in terms of YouTube recording, which is going to involve actually working more than my usual. So that should be fun. But when I say average, by the way, 5 is actually close to the minimum of the number of episodes I'll need to be churning out per day in order to be able to keep my relative schedule. So, no, we still streamed during Loreweeks last year, next time. Anyways, so like I said, we're going to... there will be no streams. There will be no streams. I'm just going to be slamming out YouTube videos because this is the time to do that. On the off chance you've been living under a rock, I have seen a few people ask this question. Yes, the episodes I'll be recording will be TOS and Enterprise. In fact, I have the Blu-rays right here, ready to go. Haven't even pulled them out of the wrapping yet. I've actually had these for a bit now. So, I suppose that's a good segue into the fact that the floodgates are open. So, for those of you not aware, this music's awesome. Or, I mean, for those of you not aware, oh, I always do Paid Mania. Every single time. It's funny, because you guys insist I do the YouTube stuff, so I have to do the YouTube stuff, but while I'm doing the YouTube stuff, my income goes down because I'm not doing the other work. I think that goes back into the people who insist I do more work than I already do. Pretty sure that's the crowd there. The floodgates are open. Now. Right now. They have been since last week, actually. Now, for those of you who don't know what the floodgates are, the floodgates is when we allow for new, what I used to call Friday ruminations, to be nominated and then voted for the coming year. Now, we're doing this differently than we ever have. First of all, we're doing nothing but WoW videos from now on. Yeah, they're not really the Friday ruminations anymore because they just go live whenever, don't they? This is a bit loud. Yeah, let's switch to something. Whoop, that's actually the wrong playlist. Hang on. There we go. Okay. So, floodgates. Let's talk about this. For those of you who've never been here for a floodgate cycle, we here at the Lore Runner record videos way in advance because I stream 7 days a week. So the only way to actually keep up with YouTube is to basically take a break from streaming to record for a significant period of time. Usually a little over a month. They won't, Mike Romano. So, there's not really a good way around this. I do try to work as fast and as hard as I possibly can to try and get it over with as quickly as possible. I've been doing that for years now. It's not really new. Obviously, Star Trek is a big part of that, but the other thing is the Friday ruminations, or at least what used to be called the Friday ruminations. What some people probably think of as the main ruminations. The way it used to work is if you're a member of Patreon, that is to say a patron on Patreon, you could hop on there and go to the post, which is live right now, by the way, and go vote there for what you wanted. Now, you can still do that. We've added 2 addendums this time around. First of all, you can only nominate movies. That's it. No games. No books. No shows. If you think something fits into a gray area, ask me. I've had plenty of people ask me about certain specific things, and I have made a couple of bendings of the rules, but only a couple. So, if you're not sure, just put it to me. The second thing is, this year we're doing something slightly different, in that if you put money towards the show in any manner, that also gains you a nomination. So, para exemple, if you subscribe to Twitch, you can say in that Twitch subscription, rather than I'd like to push this towards such and such, you could say I'd like to nominate such and such. For example, Bloopmaster decided to nominate Fight Club, and the Good Senator nominated The 47 Ronin. You know, stuff like that, right? So those people will have the ability to try and do that. Now, the floodgates is a two-phase process. God, I'm stuttering this morning. The first phase is nominations. That's where we're in right now. Okay? Once the nominations are locked in, which will happen relatively soon, we will go ahead and switch over to voting. Everyone who nominated who isn't a member of Patreon gets a vote. Okay? So in other words, every person who has put money towards the show in a demonstrable fashion in order to nominate a thing will also gain a vote. This is why I'm keeping track of the specific nominator in the spreadsheet. You get 2 votes and 1 nomination. This is the system we've used a couple times before. It worked pretty well. There are 25 slots. Now, this is one of the reasons why I'm not, as harsh as this may sound, I'm not super worried about many people being able to nominate, because we're already up to 66 nominations for 25 slots. So I'm not super concerned about making sure everyone gets to nominate, to be 100% blunt. No, if and but. We're still trying this whole thing here, but actually no, there's 4 I haven't tabulated yet. But anyways, but yes, you have to put money towards a nomination. Period. It's the way we used to do this. Yeah, it's actually a publicly viewable spreadsheet. Give me a sec. I'll link it right there. Bamf. We used to just do Patreon. Anybody who was a patron on Patreon got to nominate and vote, because honestly, that is way easier to keep track of from a paperwork side of things. I can always tell who is a patron and who has actually put money towards something, and based on that, I can always tell who should get a vote and who should get a nomination. Much easier to keep track of. This whole allowing you to nominate and vote elsewise thing is kind of an experimental thing, and this is the first year we've been doing that. I'm not super happy with the method we're doing it with, but to be honest, I haven't really thought of another better method to do so, because well, how do you keep track amongst 6 different methods of putting money towards the show in one format, right? Well, you do it manually, which is what I'm doing. So no, you don't get to double down. If you've put money towards the show, you get a vote, and you get 1 nomination and 2 votes. The voting cycle will begin, I'm not 100% sure when. I'm thinking soon-ish. And I do mean that, because, like I said, we already got tons and tons of nominations, and I'm not super concerned about the list being gargantuan, because we've had that problem before. One year, we had something along the lines of 150 nominations for 25 slots. So what happened was there were a few things that had 2 or 3 or 4, and then a whole lot, like literally 100 nominations that had 1 vote put towards them. How do you know what other people have nominated so you don't repeat the nomination? Well, if you'll notice, approximately 1 minute ago, Mike Duano, I just linked a spreadsheet, which is the spreadsheet which I'm using to keep track of that. And you can check that spreadsheet, and it is alphabetized, specifically to make it easier for you guys to look at. So you can look at it and be like, aha! Someone already nominated blame, so I don't have to nominate them. I've had several people nominate things. I suppose. Let me rewind a second. I have had quite a few people nominate for something. You'll notice it's kind of a weird thing in the middle of that list, which says Lore picks something. I even put it separately. I've had close to 7 people right now who have nominated that I pick something. I've actually already decided what I'm going to pick. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But if that does get voted in, once we get to the voting cycle, I do have something in mind for that. I'm not going to allow multiple slots to be Lore picks, though. It's just going to be the 1 slot. So 24 other slots remaining. Final point about the floodgates. Executive veto. Now, I technically have always had executive veto, but I have been extremely hesitant in executing that in the past. I am going to be substantially less lenient about executing that in the future. I absolutely have executive veto, and I absolutely am going to be using that, and already have several times. I have already just completely shut off several nominations because no. So I just want to be nice and overt and upfront about that. If you nominate Akira, which is one of the ones I shut down, no. If you nominate, what was the name of that stupid movie? I shouldn't call it stupid movie. But it's a movie I said no to. Yep, if you nominate American Beauty, which was nominated, no. And that's how that works. Like I said, I have executive veto. I have the final say. Just being overt about that. Now, first of all, thank you very, very much, Mr. Red. As always, appreciate and thank you for the support. I will put that towards Trails in the Sky 2. Thank you very, very much, Uchiha Daisuke. Which I hope I'm getting at least close to pronouncing correctly. As always, I do appreciate your sub. Thank you. I've put that towards Gone Home. And Retro Justice has decided to put that towards nominating Pirates of the Caribbean 2. Which means I think 2 and 3 are now nominated. Where's my list? I kid you not, I have 6 spreadsheets up right now. Pirates. There it is. So we'll just kind of do 2, and that's from Retro Justice. And that's a Twitch sub. So thank you very much, Retro Justice. Spider-Verse was such a good film. I almost wish I could do a rumination on it again, but honestly, I could probably dissect that movie for hours and never be done. Thank you very much, Dream Whisperer. As always, appreciate the sub. Thank you. If you know where you want that to go, let me know. Am I willing to ruminate on Princess Mononoke? No, I am not. I think I executive vetoed that one. Pretty sure I did. Yes, I did. So, no. No, thank you. Shikor just donated. Now I'm having trouble giving up. Dream Whisperer puts it towards my choice. Okay, thank you, Dream Whisperer. And Shikor, who is being evil over here, thank you very, very much, Shikor. As always, appreciate. Thank you. I am substantially less inclined to allow anime, yes. I've never been quiet about that. I am very much less likely to include anime if it is nominated. Especially if it's an anime I have issues with. And I didn't care for Princess Mononoke for various reasons. I'm not going to go into right now, so no. Like, for example, if someone was to nominate... it's a Ghibli movie about a kid who gets lost in, like, this world and her parents turn into pigs. Help me out. What's that one called? Would I add a banned list so people... Ah, that's actually not a bad idea. Spirited Away. That's definitely executive veto. No. So, let's say nominations. No. Let's just call it the blacklist. Blacklisted. No, let's do this. Already blacklisted. Let's do that. Make it nice and clear. So, that would be, Akira, Princess Mononoke. American Beauty. And I don't remember what else off the top of my head, if I'm being honest. But that is a good idea. I'll keep track of that going forwards, especially in the future years. Oh. So, someone nominated Dragon Age Redemption, which I allowed. Zaktap, which should answer that. And now I have several people who are going through Patreon right now. So we got someone nominating Alien. There's someone nominating Princess Mononoke. Pick something else. Volcanto picked Whiplash. See, this is another thing I keep running into. I have no idea what half these films are. So I keep having to look these up. Yeah, by the way, if you look at that list, Original Gojira is actually already on there. It's already something that's been nominated. If you look at the list, about half the list, or at least half the nominations, are either anime or horror. American drama, oh, right, this is the J.K. Simmons is a toxic, horrible human being movie. I'm sure. Dungeons & Dragons 2000. Wow. Listen, I don't like horror, and I don't like anime. What do you want from me? Like, I'm willing to bend, but I'm not willing to break. thank you very much, Cody, for the sub. As always, appreciate. Thank you. I've put that towards Fallout 76. 12 Angry Men? The original? He says questioningly. Apparently there was never a remix. My bad. I've actually seen 12 Angry Men. So hang on, I'm actually falling behind here. Switch this over here to over here. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought there was actually a remake of it, but I just Googled it and I didn't find it. Maybe I just need to look for a remake or whatever. This is from Tokyo Vampire on Patreon. Elite. Demolition Man. That's a fun one. David Walensky on Patreon. Volcanto donated for Whiplash. I'm just going to put Volcanto because the spreadsheet does not like the characters your name. Like, I can't even copy it out of my email. Of course you can, John. No, I have no news whatsoever. Sorry. Tron, the original Tron. From Infant Patreon. But yeah, this is kind of big news, and that's why I don't mind kind of taking my time here trying to figure out what we're doing with this. Lynn, there we go. Ludo, Patreon. That's from Holiday Dog Tour on Patreon. There. Now we're caught up. What movie do you hate that everyone else loves? Demolition Man. I haven't actually watched it in a long time. So I don't know if I would really like it or not, as of now. Of course, ruminations are not reviews, so it's not really about the quality. There we go. And sorted. Yeah, I hate to be negative, but I really hope Hamilton does not get voted in. But I couldn't technically disqualify it. Someone was wanting me to do Ben-Hur. Don't mistake me, Ben-Hur is a classic for a reason, but... Oh. It's the worst thing I've ever ruminated on? Shin Megami Tensei 4. And that's a good segue. So, let's go ahead and move on to random news. So, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne is actually getting a port next year, I believe, onto the Switch and possibly other things. In addendum to that, there's also they have also announced that they are in fact working on. Yeah, no, that's correct. We're just talking about nothing. They are. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is in production. They have announced they are working on it. It is the next game they're making. Woo! I imagine quite a few people are very happy about that. Allow me to say up front that no, I will not do a premiere run of it. Where's my random news? I still have so many things on my screens right now. Also, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 got announced. I think I'm in favor of that. Because I liked the first one. The movie. Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. And Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, small spoilers, definitely ended on a to-be-continued kind of a note. So, you know, it's good to hear that the film did well enough financially to justify the sequel. We'll see where they go with the sequel. We'll see. Like I said, we will see. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Yeah, movies are still being made, even though all of them have been pushed back to, like, October at this point. I actually don't have anything else to say about random news, so, moving on. Actually, I do have one last thing. And that is that Sean is switching his vote to Dirty Harry. Did I already put Sean on? No, I didn't. Okay, good. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm not reaching out to people telling them that they're voting twice, it's because that very quickly became difficult, if not impossible, to keep track of. That's why I have the spreadsheet, which is publicly available, so you can just check yourself. I'm kind of relying on you guys. You know, I've got a lot of paperwork on my own already. Oh, yeah, we've got this week... Oh, God, what's it called? Hang on. I wrote down the name. Eiyuden. Eiyuden? I have no idea how to pronounce that. Chronicles, which is being made by a lot of the people who worked on the Suikoden's from 1 to 2 to 3 and 4 and 5. And all of them have put together a team in order to make this game, and it's also some of the people who worked on Deadly Alliance, I think, as well as Last World. And they're making this... It's basically... It's a new Suikoden game. Let's just say what it is. It is a new Suikoden game. And it's going to be Kickstarted starting this coming week. I do actually plan to be one of the Kickstarters for that game. I've seen a couple of interviews. All the interview questions are terrible and don't actually ask anything of meat or note or substance. So unfortunately, I don't actually have anything else to share with you right now about that. Obviously, that's a game that's not going to be coming out for several years, so we'll see. Moving on. I guess I kind of already brushed over this, but as I mentioned, there was a Nintendo Mini Direct last week, which talked about SMT, and that's effectively it. Oh yeah, Tor hit Steam. Woo. I think I actually don't know. Do you still need Origin's launcher for that? You know, Steam launcher to launch the Origin launcher to launch the Tor launcher? Or is it just Steam to Tor at this point? I don't know, because I just have it on Origin. Because whatever. I mean, I could switch it to Steam, but at this point, that's just an unnecessary step for no real reason. Tor never had Origins. Sure. Look at Von Falkenstein, weirdly. Anyways. But yeah, woo, like I said, I'm down for it. Let's talk about the Xbox event, because that's the... It wasn't actually a lot of news this week, which is good, because that means you guys won't be missing the Loreweeks when we stop doing them, probably after today. So, the Xbox event. As usual, here's a... Well, I'll just go ahead and link it in chat, but I will, of course, be linking this in the VOD. Before we actually start talking about the Xbox event, I want to mention something. There are several strategies when it comes to how to do an event. And it boils down to, you can start strong or you can end strong. Either you want to get their attention immediately and then do a bunch of crap, or you want to make sure that the last thing they remember from the event is the big hitter. It's interesting because they apparently did both this time around. They started with Halo Infinite, and they ended with Fable. But let's go through this sequentially. So Halo Infinite. I have absolutely no idea what was going on or what I'm looking at. So from an outsider's perspective, it seems like there's some new species which is trying to get a hold of a Halo ring, probably to wipe out everything. You missed it, Magister. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The kit seems okay. There's a grapple, there's a punch, there's guns. The guns have alt modes, there's vehicles. They also seem to be really pushing this open ring gameplay. That's the part I'm most hesitant about. I've said it before and I've said it again. Open world gameplay is one of the hardest game styles to make good. To actually make in a good manner. And I'm probably a little bit biased about this because I literally just finished playing Ghost of Tsushima, a game that I felt should not have been open world, but I find myself wondering if Halo Infinite should be open world or not. I have no idea. They didn't really showcase the open world. All they showed was a few seconds of the map and what looks like little random things you can interact in. So again, no idea how that's going to turn out. We will see once we actually get there. They talked about some story stuff, which I had no context for, so I have nothing to comment on there. And vehicle traversal looks pretty cool. That's actually a big important thing about open worlds. If you're going to go from point A to point B, there needs to be a fun way to do it. And the vehicle that they showed off looked like it was at least fun to drive, especially since it looks like a fully off-road vehicle. So that looks cool. That's it. That's all I have to say about Halo Infinite, because I don't know what else to talk about there. I hope it'll be playable on Windows 7. Because if not, we can't really do a premiere run of that, can we? Moving on. So, start strong, Halo Infinite. Then we have State of Decay 3, which had a cinematic trailer that showed nothing. Then we have Forza Motorsport, which showed an in-engine trailer, which showed nothing. Then we have Everwild, which showed a cinematic trailer, which showed nothing. Then we have Tell Me Why, which had a generic trailer. I have more notes that I'm going through here, but honestly, this is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to how you do a conference. You start strong, then you have the crap, then you end, you have the crap, and then you end strong. Because, again, State of Decay 3 literally was a purely cinematic trailer, so okay. Forza Motorsport was like, this is all in-engine, which is neat, but it was still in the style of a cinematic trailer, so nothing actually relevant. Everwild, there's magic, and there's animals, and there's some kind of animal spirits, and no idea what the hell is going on with gameplay-wise there, so I have no idea what's going on there. Tell Me Why is made by... I actually do have something to... Wait, no, I don't have anything to say about that. Sorry. Tell Me Why has the most generic trailer of the bunch. No, really. Bog standard, copy-paste, textbook, boring trailer. Hate that crap. Don't Nod, though. Don't Nod is the team that is making Tell Me Why. This is the only thing I have to comment on there, because they're the team that made Life is Strange and Twin Mirror. Now, maybe this is just me, but do you get the feeling that Don't Nod is trying to shift into the hole that Telltale left? They also made Vampire, Shikor. Anyways, Tell Me Why looks like another Telltale game. With an incredibly generic thing. We'll see, I guess. I mean, I didn't care for Life is Strange, but that's more for the content than the approach. So, whatever. Ori and the Will of the Wisp will have super amazing tech improvements only on the Xbox X. And if you want me to stop calling me that, then you're going to need to ask them to rename it, because the name of it is the Xbox Series X. I mean, come on. Obsidian showed up, and they had... So the first thing they showed off was a DLC called Peril and Gorgon. Now, I haven't played Outer Worlds, so I had no real context for this, but all I saw was a bunch of jokes, which looked alright, but really I have no idea what it's about. So there's a DLC for Outer Worlds, which could be good. I mean, New Vegas' DLCs were good, so maybe. They also showed off more of Grounded. Now this one really has a big asterisk next to it. Not that I'm aware of, no, Shikor. Actually, the other joke I've heard blew off Alex is the Series X, as in, you know, Hey Siri, except so it's her X. Anyways, so I suppose I should stop calling it that. It's just... What were they thinking? I'm making fun of the marketing, not the console. As I've said before, I'm actually in favor of Xboxes as a concept. I am. I really am. I will probably never actually buy one, but, you know, it's still a good console, and it still has good reason to exist, and I'm totally in favor of it. Certainly more than the PS5. So then they showed off Grounded. Now this one I have several things to say about. This is the second Obsidian thing they showed off. Grounded is a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids game. Well, they've actually showed this off before. This is not an announcement. This is something they were just showing more of. But they mentioned two things about it. So it looks extremely multiplayer, and it looks like it definitely has PvP elements. Okay. It's also listed as a survival game, which is entering early access, I think this week, actually. But more importantly, it's a survival multiplayer game that is supposed to have a heavy story focus. Now, I'm not saying that's impossible, but that's a hat trick right there. Then again, Subnautica managed to have a pretty decent story to it. So, maybe? Of all the games I've listed so far, the one I am by far the most interested is in that one, purely based on the ideas and the concept. And that's, I mean, there's also spiders in it, but they don't bother me, because they're not real spiders. So yeah, I was gonna say, if they pull that off, that sounds legit. If they don't, well, then nobody will be surprised. Then they showed off Avowed. Now this one was an interesting one. Avowed is a first-person RPG set within the world of Aora, aka the world of Pillars of Eternity. The problem is, there's like 50 questions there, which I don't have the answers to any of them. The style of the play itself, the actual gameplay, looks a lot like Dark Messiah, or... Messiah... I'm just going to say Dark Messiah. I forget the full name of it. I forget the full name of the game, but it's a game we actually reviewed on camera. Like a year ago or 2 years ago, or something like that. Dark Messiah Might and Magic. I was going to say, I kept stumbling because I wasn't sure, but yeah, Dark Messiah... It looked a lot like that in terms of style, which I'm okay with, because there's a lot of good things you can do with that kind of game, especially if you really push the toolkit, and it looks like spells are going to be a major thing, so possibly? But yeah, the problem is, and I don't really want to spoil Pillars of Eternity 1 or 2, so I'm not going to, but where this is set relative to those two games is extremely important for the state of the world. So, we'll see. Unfortunately, like I said, there's a lot of questions that I just don't have the answers to. So even though it actually caught my attention, I don't have much to talk about. By the way, that's this conference in general. There's a lot of, like I was joking about earlier, here's a cinematic trailer, okay. And here's a cinematic trailer, okay. And they're working on this game, okay. There's a lot of these where I just have a bullet point, which I have nothing to talk about because they didn't show anything. So, As Dusk Falls is a game where they showed a trailer with no info. I don't even know what the gameplay is going to be like in that one. Hellblade Senua 2 is a game they're working on. Psychonauts 2 has Jack Black singing for it, so that's neat. Destiny 2 is going to be on the Xbox. Stalker 2 was announced. Warhammer 40k Darktide. Now, actually, I do have something to talk about that one. Because that is a 40k version of Vermintide by the same developers, from what I understand. And that does automatically gain my interest, because Vermintide and Vermintide 2 were really awesome. So, that's awesome. Well, I should say Stalker, to be more accurate. But yeah, Stalker. Stalker 2 is in development. And apparently showed a location from where you start at in Stalker 1. I'll have to take your word on that. I have not played Stalker 1. So yeah, Darktide looks awesome. I'm actually excited for that because it's being made by the Vermintide people. Then they did an announcement for Tetris Effect, which is coming out on the Xbox about friggin' time. I'm going to skip over the next one really quick. There's a game called Medium, which looks like a weird horror game, which might have dual reality gameplay, or maybe not. They didn't really show off enough for me to really judge that. Either way, whatever. Phantasy Star Online 2, which looks a lot like Xenoblade, is going to be coming out on the Xbox. Crossfire X is going to be coming out on the Xbox. I have nothing to say about that. And they announced the new Fable. The only thing I've been able to judge about the new Fable is that it's apparently a reboot. Which is an interesting choice to make. I'm not sure why they're deciding to reboot Fable, but they are. That's it, because that's all I know about Fable, the Fable thing. I skipped over one on the way there, though. And that would be The Gunk. Now, you're probably thinking, why do you care about some random game called The Gunk? Because it's from the developers who made the SteamWorld series. Now, for those of you curious, the SteamWorld series is awesome, and I highly recommend them. There's SteamWorld 1, which is a fairly competent pseudo side-scroller platformer. There's SteamWorld Dig 2, which is an awesome Metroidvania game that I extremely highly recommend. It's probably their best game. Then there's SteamWorld Heist, which is a 2D XCOM game, where if you knock off someone's hat, they take more damage. Then there's the SteamWorld Cards game, which I actually forget what it's called. Well, it's on Laurel's list somewhere, which is an RPG card adventure game. And all of these games are good. Every single one of these. You'll notice also they keep jumping genres. Every single one of these is a different genre from the other. Now we have The Gunk, which is a 3D Metroid-y kind of a game. And they did show off a little bit of gameplay, and it was very reminiscent of Metroid, with a little mix of Mario Sunshine baked in there. Unfortunately, as with everything else, they didn't show off much of it because this whole conference was about not showing off much except for Halo. So I don't have much else to say, but again, the mere fact that it's made by the creators of the SteamWorld series means I'm automatically interested. I hope it'll be playable on Windows 7. And then Fable! SteamWorld Quest, that was the card game. I'm also curious if Gunk will be set in the same setting, because there is an overall continuity to the SteamWorld series. We'll see. But that's it. That's the Xbox conference. I have to be honest, it's not the best conference I've ever seen, but it's also not exactly the worst. They could have done a lot worse. The biggest irritation for me was the fact that so many of the trailers were exactly that. Cinematic trailer that shows off nothing for a game. You can tell this was designed for E3, which tends to eat that sort of thing up, since E3 is not really designed for gamers to begin with. But that's my biggest complaint. Oh yeah, also, I literally wrote this in my notes. World premiere, because they kept saying that. Love that. World premiere. E3 is designed for investors, Mr. Red. From what I understand, the Halo Infinite thing was the big one. Both good and bad? Now, I'm not into Halo. I've never actually played the Halo games. I'm a little aware of the lore, only a little bit. Why is everyone either really for or really against the Halo Infinite trailer? Because that's what I've been seeing. Several people have been like, oh god, it's the worst thing ever, and it's terrible, and blah. And then other people have been like, oh my god, it looks amazing and awesome and incredible, and I'm just staring at these two sides going, what? But it's... I mean, I know it's not Bungie, so maybe that's it. Maybe that's the key thing. It's Bungie. Or it's not Bungie, rather. Because Bungie is off making Destiny. Destiny 2. Which has a new expansion, so woo! I wonder if we can get... I wonder if there'll be a fan patch to get it running on Windows 7, because that's not unheard of. I mean, that's also possible, Javan. I mean, popular series that has weight to it, so... Yeah. We just call it Star Wars at this point. Although probably not to the same extent to Star Wars, but it's the same idea. Either way, that's actually it. That's all I got. Pointing towards the graphics as a complaint? Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. I just don't care. I mean, if graphics, Yeah, I will say that Ghost of Tsushima looked better than Last of Us 2, even though Last of Us 2 had higher fidelity than Ghost of Tsushima, so I suppose, you know, that's just my opinion in a nutshell there. But yeah, I don't know what to say on that. Never really seen the Halos other than in speedruns, so I don't really know what to talk about with regards to graphics. That's it for Loreweek. I do have other things to work on, so I'm going to go ahead and chop this off and get started on the Streaminations.